Sarah had recently moved to the small town of Blackwood. The town, surrounded by abandoned houses and dark streets, never seemed to have much life to it. Yet Sarah didn't fear walking through it, even at late hours. The town carried an eerie stillness, something Sarah felt every evening. One night after finishing work, she decided to check out a house where a new family had recently moved in. The Wilkins house had been abandoned for years, but tonight there was a light shining from within. She knocked on the door, half expecting no answer. But to her surprise, it swung open almost immediately. Standing in the threshold was a pale, eerie woman wearing an old-fashioned dress. Her face was almost ghostly. Her eyes looked as if they belonged to another time. "Welcome," the woman said, her voice strange and soft. "Welcome to our home." Sarah hesitated for a moment, but then stepped inside, compelled by something she couldn't explain. The house was cold and dark, with old furniture covered in dust. Faded photographs hung crookedly on the walls, and dim gas lamps flickered eerily. There was an unsettling sound, a faint crying of a child. "Is there a child here?" Sarah asked, her curiosity growing. The woman narrowed her eyes slightly and responded coldly, "No, there is no child here." But Sarah could still hear the crying, faint but persistent, as if it was following her through the house. She didn't believe the woman. Something was wrong. Something didn't fit. The sound seemed to be growing louder. Despite the strange atmosphere, Sarah decided to follow the sound. As she moved through the house, she noticed an old mirror hanging on the wall. The reflection seemed odd, distorted, as if something was wrong with it. And then, in the corner of the mirror, she saw it. A child's face staring directly at her with a horrifying smile. Sarah blinked and looked again, but the child was gone. A chill ran down her spine as the room around her seemed to grow even colder. She stepped back quickly, but as she did, she heard a door slam. The house fell into an unnerving silence. In panic, Sarah rushed outside, but she heard footsteps behind her. She turned, expecting to see the woman, but there was no one there. For a brief moment, she saw a shadowy figure, a child smiling eerily at her. That was when Sarah realized the child had died in that house years ago. His spirit, trapped within the house, was now reaching out to her. Frantically, Sarah ran back to the town. She vowed never to go near that house again. But every night, as she walked through the streets, she could feel the child's eyes following her. The house's windows, glowing with an unnatural light, remained ever present in her mind. From that night on, Sarah avoided the streets near the Wilkins house, but the sensation of being watched never left her. She couldn't escape the ghostly presence, the eerie smile of the child. The house's light continued to shine, undying, and she knew it would haunt her for the rest of her days.